Yeah, Curious George getting hauled away like Abby Hoffman. Look at that, unbelievable. Steal this book. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start out, Bill, and then I'll pass it over to you. This is George. He lived in Africa. He was very happy, but he had one fault. He was too curious. Good, Mom. You've read this before. One day, George saw a man. He had on a large yellow straw hat. The man saw George, too. What a nice little monkey, he thought. I'd like to take him home with me. Typical guy in the wilderness. The man put his hat on the ground, and of course, George was curious. He came down from the tree to look at the large yellow hat. Okay, well, first half, okay. The hat had been on the man's head. George thought it would be nice to have it on his own head. He picked it up, put it on. The hat covers George's head. He couldn't see. The man picked him up quickly and popped him into a bag. George was caught. Wow. Why do I think Animal Planet would not approve of this story? The man with the big yellow hat put George into a little boat, and a sailor rowed the boat across the water to a big ship. George was sad, but he was still a little curious. What's going to happen now? On the big ship, things began to happen. The man took off the bag. That was nice of him. George sat on a little stool, and the man said, George, I'm going to take you to a big zoo in a big city. You'll like it there. Now run along and play, but don't get into trouble. Good idea. Let the monkey run amok on a boat. Good. Don't get into trouble. George promised to be good, but it is easy for little monkeys to forget. Here, Bill, you take it from here. All right. That's the beauty. All right. George is on the boat.
On the deck, he found some seagulls. He wondered how they could fly. He was very curious. Finally, he had to try. It looked easy, but
This isn't going to end well, I don't think.
what happened? Man overboard! The sailors cried, jumping the evolutionary chain there, as they threw him a life belt. George caught it and held on. At last, he was safe on board.
Wow. Nice drawing of George vomiting fish.
Wow, that's kind of a questionable drawing there, but
It's like Barney from the Simpsons.
after that, George was more careful to be a good monkey, until at last the long trip was over. George said goodbye to the kind sailors, and he and the man with the yellow hat walked off the ship to the shore and on into the city to the man's house. After a good meal and a good pipe, George felt very tired.
What was in that pipe?
He crawled into bed and fell asleep at once. The next morning, the man telephoned the zoo. George watched him. He was fascinated. Then the man went away. George was curious. He wanted to telephone too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What fun!
That was a rotary phone. It took forever. 7 took a long time.
They have rotaries around here, they just don't have rotary phones.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. George had telephoned the fire station. Oh no! The firemen rushed to the telephone. Hello, hello, they said, but there was no answer, of course. Then they looked for the signal on the big map that showed where the telephone call had come from. They didn't know it was George. They thought it was a real fire.
Bill, we have a request here. All right. Somebody said, will you read it as SpongeBob and Patrick? Should we?
Yeah! Hurry, hurry, hurry! Well, let's try that again. I've been talking all day. That's like SpongeBob with emphysema. Hurry, hurry, hurry! The firemen jumped onto the fire engines and onto the hook and ladders. Ding dong, ding dong! Everyone out of the way! Hurry, hurry, hurry! The firemen rushed into the house. They opened the door. Big capital letters, no fire! Only a naughty little monkey. Hope it was a sea monkey. Ah! Oh, catch him, catch him, catch him, they cried. George tried to run away. He almost did, but he got caught in the telephone wire and... What's this killing me? A thin fireman caught one arm, and a fat fireman caught the other. The fat one is not going to get on the calendar this year, the hunky fireman of the Tri-Cities area calendar. You fooled the fire department, they said.
We'll have to shut you up or you can't do any more harm.
They took him away and shut him in a prison. Patrick, this is bringing back too many memories for me. I think you better read it.
George wanted to get out. He climbed up to the window to try the bars. Just then, the watchman came in. He got on the wooden bed to catch George. But the watchman was too big and heavy. The bed tipped up, the watchman fell over, and quick as lightning, George ran out the open door.
First he smokes a pipe and then he wants to try the bars.
He hurried through the building and out onto the roof, and then he was lucky to be a monkey. Out he walked onto the telephone wires, quickly and quietly over the guard's head. George walked away. He was free!
Kids, never walk on telephone wires. If you see a telephone wire, don't walk on it. It works for, and avoid men with yellow hats. They will catch you and bring you where you don't want to go. Down in the street, outside the prison wall, stood a balloon man. We've all seen them. A little girl bought a balloon for her brother. George watched. He was curious again. He felt he must have a bright red balloon. He reached over and tried to help himself, but... You guys know what happens in a cartoon when you grab a whole bunch of balloons. One word. That's the word.
That's a cartoon word.
That's a cartoon word.
Instead of one balloon, the whole bunch broke loose. In an instant, the wind whisked them all away. And with them went George, holding tight with both hands. Up he sailed, higher. I keep doing that, so did you. Up he sailed, higher and higher. The houses looked like toy houses and the people like dolls. George was frightened. He was the one monkey on earth with vertigo. He held on. He held on very tight. Here, Patrick, take us home, baby.
At first the wind blew in great gusts. Then it quieted dead. Finally, it stopped blowing altogether. George was very tired. Down he went, bump, onto the top of a traffic light. Everyone was surprised. The traffic got all mixed up.
What do you think you're gonna do, you stupid monkey?
George didn't know what to do, and then he heard someone call, George! He looked down and saw his friend, the man with the big yellow hat. George was very happy. The man was happy too. George slid down the post, and the man with the big yellow hat put him under his arm. Then he paid the balloon man for all the balloons. We have to be responsible.
The year this book was written, that was probably 47 cents.
And then George and the man climbed into the car, and at last, away they went. To the zoo! What a nice place for George to live! Now that's funny.
Something like a little politically corrected.
You know,
I haven't read that one for a long time, but you know, a lot of you guys have kids here. Some of you are former kids. Cannot stress how important reading is. Like Bill said, the whole reason that Bill and I are working in a job that we enjoy is that we were curious, like George, and found out about the things we were interested in, and tried to figure out a way to turn those interests of ours into an actual living wage and an occupation. It's nice to have a job that you actually like. You know, you don't want to have a job that you don't like. Everyone here at Amazon.com loves their jobs, right, guys? One guy in the back. So, anything you want to say, Bill, before we do some Q&A?
Oh, no, let's get to the question.
Does anybody have any questions about SpongeBob, cartoons, string theory, the universe?
Do you guys have a favorite episode?
Favorite episode, Bill?
Turn your volume up a little. I love the pilot. The pilot where SpongeBob applies for the job at the Krusty Krab. I always found it just a wonderful little episode, and for me it was kind of a revelation when the coin dropped and I realized that I was involved in something pretty cool, and I was just hopeful that someone else besides me would realize that. And lo and behold, yeah, it was.
I like Band Geeks because SpongeBob gets to sing that Night Ranger type power ballad. So goofy and fun. But the funnest one to record was Sailor Mouth, the episode where SpongeBob learns the naughty word off the wall of the Krusty Krab. Because they gave us permission. They said, when we recorded that, they said, you know what? We'll bleep you guys later, but we want it to sound real. So just go nuts, let it fly. So somewhere there are tapes of us letting it fly in our SpongeBob and Patrick voices that could ruin our lives if they ever came out.
That's all right. We also have something on the storyboard artists when they. Well, we will talk about that. Yes, you in the back.
I'm going to send a runner down to pick up that
I'm
question.
going to be Phil Donahue for a second. Do we ever get tired of talking in our SpongeBob and Patrick voices?
If we have to scream a lot when we're doing an episode, there's a lot of screaming and a lot of laughter. Okay, that was good, Bill. 3 more times, and then and then you just look in the whole pages. That's all it is.
On the roller coaster at Glove World.
At Glove World, yeah. He's got an AC/DC scream that is pretty phenomenal.
You know, you do that for 4 hours and you go, wow, James Brown is awesome. How did he do that for 50 years? Incredible. So, but we still enjoy the characters in the show very much. Like, it's never like, oh no, I gotta go to SpongeBob. You know, it's always a blast. The people are nice except for Bill, and everybody's really nice, and it's a fun job. It still is fun. All the cartoons around are fun.
And sometimes at home, when I see a spider, I can't help myself. I just go, spider, spider, spider! It's this weird thing. I can't get it out of my head. There was a hand up in the R somewhere. Oh, yes, sir, right here.
Your favorite book?
My favorite book? Wow. I don't know. I like a lot of different kinds of books. I really loved, recently, I really enjoyed a book called Killer Angels by Michael Shara. It's historical fiction about the Battle of Gettysburg. It was a tremendous read. That's my favorite one lately. How's that?
Good one. And my favorite authors are Mark Twain and Charles Dickens. They're my 2 favorite guys. You know, Mark Twain wrote Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer and all kinds of other stuff, Roughing It. And Charles Dickens is Oliver Twist and David Copperfield and Hard Times and Bleak House and all that stuff.
Tell me what Wumbo is?
What's Wumbo?
What's Wumbo?
What is Wumbo?
What is Wumbo?
It's on an episode? Wow.
We've done a lot of episodes, brother. I gotta tell you,